yìí kó máa gbọ́dọ̀ wó.
Araba ni egbọ́dọ̀ wó láwùjọ.
Araba yìí kó máa gbọ́dọ̀ wó.
Araba ni egbọ́dọ̀ wó láwùjọ.
Àṣà ayé kó máa gbọ́dọ̀ gbé.
Araba ni egbọ́dọ̀ wó láwùjọ.
Ìjì ayé kó máa gbọ́dọ̀ gbé lọ.
Araba ni egbọ́dọ̀ wó láwùjọ.
Ìtú ayé kó máa gbọ́dọ̀ pa ó.
Araba ni egbọ́dọ̀ wó láwùjọ.
Kó máa gbọ́dọ̀ wó. Onílé wò é. Ọlọ́gbọ́n ayé o, ẹ̀sùn mọ́ bí. Olóyè ayé ẹ máa bá mi ká lọ. Ọ̀fọ̀ ìgbéyàwó ọ̀rọ̀ ilẹ̀ ẹnu mi. Mo ní igi là ń bẹ nígbò ìgbò. Ìgbò ìmà mi wò lọ. Araba yìí wá ń gbìyànjú kò dọ́mọ kó wà lárẹ́rẹ́ lọ. Igi ńlá yìí wà lóhun tó máa fi ṣàràbà lóore. Oníwíwó ní káràbà ìlọ́wọ́ láwùjọ igi. Onílé wò é. Kò máa gbọ́dọ̀ wò.
Araba ni egbọ́dọ̀ wó láwùjọ.
Ṣọ́dá àbáwọn sọ Fúlàní òyìnbó ṣe ń pa wá. Ṣó wá sùn ọkọ̀ máde ẹmọ́ ṣe bẹ́ẹ̀ kó jáwọ́ ní. Àwọn àgbààgbà ikọ̀ wọn kò tíra mú. Odò sì wá kó wà láyé rẹ̀ lọ. Ó máa ṣe òre. Kò máa gbọ́dọ̀ wò.
Araba ni egbọ́dọ̀ wó láwùjọ.
Èrò bá mi kọ́ mọ́radé mọ́. Èmi kí ọmọ yíyọ ilẹ̀ akíkanjú ọkùnrin ogun. Èrò bá mi kọ́ mọ́ wọn ní gbọ́ ọmọ rẹ̀. Iná máa rógún màmá ti di pẹ̀lẹ́ ọmọ bàbá rógún màmá ṣojo. Sunday ẹ̀yẹ tó má ṣe bọ́ kí yẹn ò sí ní gbọ́mọ́. Òrìṣà tí ó ṣe bọ́kọ̀ màdé mọ́ ni. Ṣé bí yẹn ò kọ́ mọ́ lágbẹ̀dẹ. Ẹ̀bà lè jẹ́ ẹ̀bọ̀nà jẹ́. Adéyẹmí yóò máa sọ kọ̀ọ̀kan láì dáa. Kìkì orin tó máa kọ́ ni wípé Yorùbá nation ìlógó ìbá kìíní. Ẹ̀dá bí rẹ̀ ṣọ̀wọ́n òye. Kò máa gbọ́dọ̀ wò. Kò máa gbọ́dọ̀ wò. Onílé wò é. Ọmọ Yorùbá ẹ jẹ́ ká rórí. Ọjọ́ wo ni wọ́n dalẹ̀ Ifẹ̀ tán gangan? Àwọn kan sáré kó lè dára. Èrè bó bàjẹ́ kókò mí làwọn kan sá. Ṣó dára kí dára ṣó ìwà lókun. Yorùbá ìrònú kẹ́lọ́ fi mọ̀ ṣọ̀kan. Ọ̀tá ló pọ̀ tán ìwà ká. Kò máa gbọ́dọ̀ wò.
Araba ni egbọ́dọ̀ wó láwùjọ.
Omi nù ń kọ́ mi. Ìdí táwọn àgbààgbà ìtàn kò fi lè sòdodo. Ó ti sọ́wọ́n àjẹkẹ́ wá jọba. Ìran láwọn àgbààgbà ìgbèdánijó kiri. Ó máa ṣe òye. Ó máa gbọ́dọ̀ wò.
Araba ni egbọ́dọ̀ wó láwùjọ.
mo bẹ̀ yín ẹ ṣayé ire kò bàjẹ́ láyé Olúgbọ́n kò má bàjẹ́ láyé Àrẹ̀sà o kò má torí tíyìn bàjẹ́ òye abẹ́ orí arúgbó Yorùbá ó má fọwọ́ rọ́ọ̀rì kú mọ́ ẹ bá ọ̀nà lọ́mọ kéékèèké kú sí kiri olóko lè lóko nílẹ̀ Yorùbá mọ́ kíjokíjo lọ́dọ́ ló wọ̀n yìí wá ń sáré kiri. ọmọ Yorùbá ẹ jẹ́ ká relé bájọ́ bájúmọ́ á ń padà sílé bàbá ẹni ni ṣebí ewúrẹ́ yẹn ò ló ṣọmọ yàgùntàn àgùntàn ló ní màmá mi òbí dúdú òye ṣebí látọdún tó ti wà nínú Nàìjíríà yìí ìdẹ̀ra là ń fojoojúmọ́ béèrè lọ́wọ́ wọn ṣùgbọ́n òmìnira náà fojoojúmọ́ fún wa mú. ó ṣe àsìkò tí tó ilé tó lọ òmìnira láfẹ́ ó ṣe àsìkò tí tó ilé tó lọ òmìnira láfẹ́ ó ṣe àsìkò tí tó ilé tó lọ òmìnira láfẹ́ ó ṣe.
We're just getting ready in just about a few minutes and we're gonna be live. We're just testing the mic. We're gonna be live in just about a few minutes. I say welcome to Star Radio UK. It is the finest African and Caribbean radio station in London. I say very good evening and welcome to Star Radio UK. As we're getting ready for the first broadcast of the year 2023, it's going to be very hot in the studio. But for the time being, I say welcome once again to Star Radio UK. It is your finest African and Caribbean radio station in London. Broadcasting worldwide online 24/7. Broadcasting worldwide online 24/7. This is Star Radio. I say very good evening and welcome once again. It is the the beautiful Star Radio UK, and I'd like to say good evening to my producer, Mr. Archie Amon, that is working quietly behind the scene. Good evening to Frank. Good evening to all the Star Radio presenter. And it is myself, Olayomi Koiki, and I'll be taking you through the program this evening. There is a lot to discuss. There's a lot to look into, as Nigeria is going through a very, very rough time, and the world is quietly also monitoring the situation. Let's go back into Orile Mi. A lot of people are saying 2023, but so many people are saying it is better that we get Nigeria disintegrated. It is for the best interest of Nigerians. Are you in that same view, or are you of the view of the 2023 election? I say a very good evening and welcome. It is Niger Voices. It's just coming up to 6 minutes past 1800 hours, and this is how we're going to be doing it in the studio this evening. I say welcome once again. It is the Wednesday edition. It is 18th of January 2023. Good evening to all our fans around the world and welcome once again. Mo kí gbogbo ọmọ Yorùbá pé ẹ káàbọ̀ sórí ètò, ẹ jẹ́ ká fìdí kalẹ̀ ká gbádùn ètò talẹ́ yìí. Are you of the view it's going to be 2023 election, or the Nigeria that we know is going to dissolve into so many countries? A very good evening to you, Mace Good. Good evening to you, Olajire Koka. Good evening to you, Igbe Santoye, and welcome once again. It is Niger Voices on Star Radio UK. Good evening to all our fans around the world in Kenya, in South Africa. Good evening to you, Mrs. Folashade Ojo, and welcome. It is Star Radio UK. Tomorrow is the property hour. Make sure you join us on Star Radio UK. But tonight is all about Niger Voices on the finest African and Caribbean radio station in London. It is Star Radio UK. Nigeria has been running for the last 62 years. This election, is it going to be, or are we seeing the final part of Nigeria being buried for those of us that are saying Nigeria is no longer working after the 1914 amalgamation? I welcome you to the program, and it's going to be a call-in show as well. We're going to open the phone line in just about a few minutes, but for now, I'm asking the question. We've seen all the presidential, aspirants, traveling to London. Peter Obi was there on Monday. Kwankwaso is still in London. The INEC chairman is even in London. London has now become the bus stop for where all the politicians in Nigeria have to come down to Chatham House and speak to Chatham House about election in Nigeria. What is your take on that in the first instance? I mean, I'm not sure whether this happens in other African countries where people have to travel to UK and speak to Chatham House about an election holding in their country. My name is OLAMILEKAN, and if you're joining us for the very first time, this is how we do it every Wednesday here in the studio, where we discuss issues in Nigeria, and not just issues in Nigeria. We also have the indigenous people that are also making a lot of complaint. Good evening to you, those of you that have joined us on Instagram. It's a very, very busy line, and I say thank you so much to everyone that have joined us so far on different platforms. As we continue to review Nigeria, my question is, are we seeing the final end of Nigeria in 2023? Is Nigeria truly working? And if Nigeria is working, who is Nigeria working for? We've seen so many atrocities. We've seen so much disunity. But it seems that the politicians in Nigeria are saying that they can still unite us together going into 2023 general election, which is just about 28 days from today. And I'm asking the question, are we seeing the final part of Nigeria, or do you think that there will still be a Nigeria just as 2023 election is getting closer? We've seen our politicians that are saying, we know that there's a problem in Nigeria, but we can resolve this problem. These are internal problems. It has been bad leadership. Nothing seems to be working, but we can make it work. Do you believe in your politician that they can make Nigeria to work? Do you think that the politician of today can literally make Nigeria to work? And if you think so, why do you think so? Why do you still think that Nigeria of today will survive? Once again, a very good evening and welcome to Star Radio UK. It is, the Wednesday edition. As we say all the time, if you're joining me for the very first time, I will be speaking a lot of my language, which is the Yoruba language, but we're also going to carry you along for those of you that are not Nigerians. We have a lot of our listeners from around the globe that are also following us, from Ghana, from South Africa, from every nook and corner of the world. And my question tonight is, are we seeing the final part of Nigeria? Nigeria has been running for 108 years. But so many Nigerians are not happy with the current state of things in Nigeria. And they are now speaking one language. And that language is, Nigeria is now currently at the verge of breakup. But so many people say the country cannot break up at this particular time. And the reason for that is, we can still unite. We can bring all the atrocities. We can change the constitution. I'm not sure how all this is going to play out. But what I do know is, they are the indigenous people that are now saying that Nigeria have been running in favor of a particular set of people. And the unity that brought us together in 1960 is going away as quickly as possible. What is your take for those of you watching me back home? For those of you that still believe that Nigeria can survive, why do you think so? And what is giving you that assurance that Nigeria can still survive in the midst of all the atrocity going on in Nigeria today? Nigeria is not working. We know that. But so many people are saying the reason why Nigeria is not working is because we have actually lost the plot in the last few years. Election came back after the failure of the former military dictator Ibrahim Badamasi Babangida to hand over the election that was won in 1993. And that led to violence, that led to so many atrocities that eventually took place. But today, it seems that history is now repeating itself again. And I'm not sure whether a lot of you, understand what is about to play again. Nigerians today are saying, since after the election of the late Chief M.K. Abiola, the election of 1999 till date have not been fair, have not been conducted in a way that an average Nigerian can say categorically that going to the polling unit, which I witnessed in 2019, traveling back to Nigeria, that Nigeria still have one country. But as a lot of people will always say that every countries around the globe have their own different problems. And Nigeria is just going through one out of so many problems that the world is facing today. There's currently, starvation going on in different parts of the globe. Even the United Nations, according to reports some few days ago, also is worried that there's so many Nigerians that will become into that poverty line that Nigeria is currently. As we speak today, Nigeria is the capital poverty of the world, and that is not going to change anytime soon. But hunger is becoming a big obstacle in Nigeria. Do you believe that any of these political parties that are now promising heaven and earth? I was listening to Atiku in Ekiti State saying that he's going to fix the roads. And I'm asking myself, why do we need to get Atiku to fix the road when Ondo State has the largest bitumen in the world? I mean, the second largest bitumen in the world. So why should we wait for Atiku to become the president of Nigeria when we can have access to that same bitumen and get every road in the Yoruba land in the southwest of Nigeria to be fixed? But people are saying that maybe, just maybe, we should give it another time for maybe another 8 years where the new president will be able to fix some of the problems. But are we sure that we can still fix the problem in Nigeria? Once again, a very good evening and welcome to Star Radio UK. It is, the Wednesday edition of Niger Voices, and this is how we do it every Wednesday. It's just coming up to 18 minutes past 6 p.m. local time here in London. It is freezing cold on my way to the studio. I mean, a lot of those at home will probably not understand when we say the weather is cold. Some might think that, it's a joke. But to be honest, the weather is extremely cold for somebody like me. I don't like the British weather, even though I've lived here for the last 2 decades. I'm not sure whether Frank or Archie love the weather, but for somebody like me, I cannot just stand, the British weather. I'm asking the question tonight. Good evening to you. This is Grace Senior JP, and welcome to the program. It's called Niger Voices, and this is how we do it every Wednesday when I look into the current state of situation in Nigeria. So many African countries might probably not understand what the indigenous people are going through, and that literally means that it might be difficult for them to understand when somebody like myself say Nigeria should break up. Good evening to you, Mrs. Esther. Good evening to you, Temitope FOLAYEMI. Good evening to you, Waris Jinodu. Also say Chatham House, a laughing stock entertainment at British Nigerian company Stooge, subject Bulldog. Why is it that every time election is held in Nigeria, we see our presidential aspirant traveling there? Tinubu was there some few weeks ago, Atiku, Peter Obi, and Kwankwaso today, and also the INEC chairman. What an interesting time to be alive in 2023. 38 days, according to INEC chairman. We now have 38 good days before 2023 election. What do you think is going to happen? Do you think an election will go ahead as planned? Do you think that the government might probably wake up on the election day and say election cannot hold in Nigeria for reason known to them? What is your take for those of you that listen to us every day? What is your view? How do you understand the election in Nigeria? Good evening to you, Cole. Good evening to those of you on the MixLR and all those that are watching us on Star Radio UK in different parts of the globe. Once again, my name is OLAMILEKAN, and I am going to be, your host till the end of the program tonight. Once again, I'd like to appreciate my producer that are working tirelessly round the clock. One thing a lot of Nigerians at home think is election will solve the problem. Good evening to those of you that have joined us on the Star Radio YouTube channel. Good evening to you, Shegun Phillips. Shegun Phillips says, I want mad people all over the place. Akitunde Odua, good evening to you. You also say White Lion, and the other viewers continue to also make sure that you have a Twitter account. Star Radio UK is on Twitter, and you can also listen to us every Wednesday on Star Radio UK on Twitter platform, or you can also listen to us on all our platforms from around the globe. My name again is OLAMILEKAN, and as we continue to say, Nigeria is going through a distress. There is now a lot of Nigerians that are becoming woken from the last 3 years, especially those campaigning for the right to self-determination, whether you are from the Biafra, whether you are from the Middle Belt. Good evening to you, Prince Adiola, and the rest of you that have joined us so far on all the platforms. Should we remain as Nigerians, there will be a lot of obstacle, because as a Nigerian citizen, there is no value system anymore under the international, engagement. We have a lot of Nigerians in Dubai that are not respected. We have a lot of Nigerians, in India that are asking. That have a lot of, Nigerians in India that are saying to the federal government to bring them back home, but I'm not sure that is going to happen anytime soon. So my question tonight, for those of you that are watching us, is Naija Voices, Nigeria in the next 38 days, election or dissolution? Fáǹfààní gbogbo ẹni tó ń gbọ́ wa káàkiri gbogbo àgbáyé, orí ètò Star Radio UK ní a wà ní àṣálẹ́ níbi tí ètò ti ń lọ ní tibẹ̀ǹbẹ̀, níbi tí a ti ń gbé yẹ̀wò ṣé kí election kó sì wáyé ni àbí èyí tá a ṣe nínú election Nàìjíríà ó tó gẹ́. Ọ̀pọ̀lọpọ̀ ọmọ Nàìjíríà sọ pé ká lọ dìbò 2023 pé ìyẹn á fún wa nífọ̀kànbalẹ̀. Ṣé bẹ́ẹ̀ náà ni fẹ́yìn tẹ́ ń wò wá nílé, àbí bẹ́ẹ̀ kọ́, àbí èyí tí a ṣe nínú Nàìjíríà ó tó gẹ́? Mo kí gbogbo ẹ̀yin olólùfẹ́ Star Radio UK. Good evening to those of you on the MixLR. Olusegun Oyesanya, good evening to you. Comrade Plan B, good evening to you, and welcome once again to Star Radio UK. Ṣé ká sì máa wà nínú Nàìjíríà ni àbí ìta ṣe nínú Nàìjíríà ó tó gẹ́? Ìyẹn ni ìbéèrè tí à ń gbé yẹ̀wò ìyẹn ní àṣálẹ́ lórí ètò Star Radio UK. Ọ̀pọ̀lọpọ̀ ń sọ pé Nàìjíríà máa ṣiṣẹ́ pé ká sì fún ní time, nítorí pé àwọn tó wà níbẹ̀ tẹ́lẹ̀ ọ̀jẹ̀lú ni wọ́n. Àwọn bíi gómìnà yín ní South West, àwọn bíi sínétọ̀ yín, àwọn tí wọ́n ṣe tó ẹ̀kọ́ ṣe gẹ́gẹ́ bí ọmọ Nàìjíríà fún àwọn aráàlú. Ìbéèrè tèmi lálẹ́ ni pé ṣé kí Nàìjíríà sì máa lọ ni àbí àsìkò tó kí a dáwó? Fáǹfààní ẹ̀yin tí ẹ bá ń wò wá nílé. Mo kí gbogbo olólùfẹ́ Star Radio UK, and I say good evening once again. If you're Biafra, good evening to you. If you're from Oduduwa, good evening to you. If you're watching me from any part of the globe, I say good evening and welcome to the program. My name again is OLAMILEKAN, and this is Naija Voices every Wednesday on Star Radio UK. Are we ready to turn it up? I will be driving you home at exactly just coming up to some few minutes. I say good evening to you. Okay, the program is not clear on Facebook and YouTube. Let's just manage it. If not, you can join Star Radio UK on all our own platforms and you'll be able to enjoy it from there, Mrs. Adebimpe Awoni. If you're having trouble, there's a lot of streaming going on, so you got to understand that sometimes there's pressure cooker on some of the device that we are using, but I can assure you that we are live on all our platforms. So if one of the platforms is giving you a bit of concern, you can just go straight to Star Radio UK where you can enjoy the program, without any interruption at all. But tonight, I'm going to be opening the phone line in just about a few minutes. I'm asking the question. It's very, very beautiful, crisp, clear on the Star Radio UK YouTube channel. For those of you that are concerned, why not join, Star Radio UK, and then you can watch the program without any interruption. The reason why we're here tonight is to ask that question. Nigeria should dissolve or Nigeria should remain? Should we remain as Nigerians? What guarantee for the Yoruba people, the indigenous people? Maze God, good evening, says, I'm not on Star Radio UK watching. Yes, if you're having any problem, you can join Star Radio UK where it will be much, much clearer and without any interruption. But we are also, testing some of our sister broadcasts so that, when we're in the studio, when we're outside the studio, we can make sure that things are working, as according to plan. So if you're having any problem, please switch quickly to Star Radio UK on Facebook, Star Radio UK on Twitter, Star Radio UK on YouTube, and Star Radio UK on the other platforms as well. Nigeria at the verge of breakup. But before Nigeria breaks up, what are the indices to indicate that a country is already on distress? The economy of Nigeria, according to the federal government today, is saying that Nigeria economy is becoming concerned. And I was actually, listening to, reading through that on the, one of the dailies. When you look at Nigeria, the federal government is also saying that, we are importing crude oil and we don't even have the money. And all these are questions that some of us have been saying that, is Nigeria too big to be controlled from Abuja? But some are saying that maybe not. What is your concern about Nigeria today? The federal government of Nigeria is not even sure of the election because INEC in Nigeria is also complaining about the logistic. But those that are campaigning for the right to self-determination, those that are saying that our right to self-determination must be respected under the international law. There's a lot of attack going on different INEC premises. And according to the report coming through today, attacks on the Electoral Commission is now sparking concern for the Nigerian poll. Is election going to go ahead as planned in Nigeria? And this is actually coming from one of the mainstream media outside Nigeria that are also monitoring the situation in Nigeria today. Nigerians would like to know whether Nigeria itself will continue to operate after February 2023. And if Nigeria is meant to go ahead, do you think that it can survive? We've been as a Nigerian for 62 years after the independence. But prior to that, in 1914, the British actually amalgamated the southern part of Nigeria with the northern part of Nigeria by Lugard. And today, there is still more problem going ahead in Nigeria. So I'm asking Nigerians today, do you think that we can still have unity among each other? Do you think that our unity is guaranteed? A lot of you that are back home might not understand the current spat of situation in Nigeria outside. But the international community, I'm sure, are preparing a lot of contingency plan, because this election is going to be a lot of situation room that we'll have to be looking to.